9 people died and nearly 300 are feared dead. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has arrived in Geneva for a crucial meeting on the crisis in Ukraine. He'll sit down with U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry, EU Foreign Policy Chief Catherine Ashton, and the Ukrainian Foreign Minister. The meeting comes as the U.S. prepares a new round of sanctions against Moscow for what it regards as fostering unrest in eastern Ukraine. Business is booming for Toronto's screen industry. Filming in Toronto has exceeded $1 billion for the third straight year. Whether it was film, television, animation, music videos, or commercials, all categories experienced increases over 2012.
Today is World Hemophilia Day, and Canada's hemophilia champion John Schmitke has dropped by. Thanks a lot for coming by this morning.
Thanks for having me.
So you're the hemophilia champion of Canada. What's that mean?
It means that there's a selection of role models from around the world, from different countries, that have had a lot of success living with their bleeding disorders, and we go out and advocate on behalf of the bleeding disorders community and talk to other, people suffering from the disease and teach them how to live the best life they can.
Tell us a little bit about hemophilia. It's a hereditary disease. I mean, it stays with you throughout your whole life. What else can you tell us about it?
Okay, well, so it is a hereditary disease. It is a result of a missing clotting factor. So if you don't have that clotting factor, then obviously your blood doesn't clot as well as a normal person's, which is the misconception with hemophilia is people think that if you cut yourself that's the problem, and that's not really it. It's the internal bleeding. So if you sprain your knee or your ankle, it's that blood in your joints. It can cause more problems and more pain than anything external.
So obviously you have to take a little more caution in everyday life. Give us an example of maybe some of the things you have to watch out for.
You basically just want to watch out for, if you're a kid, anything high impact, so high impact sports. If you're an adult, we tend to be a little bit more sedentary than children. So just any major trauma. So you want to try to avoid anything that could cause severe bleeding. Well,
looking at you, it doesn't look like you're very sedentary. I mean, you've really taken the approach of not letting the disease dictate what you can do. Tell us a little about your story.
So one of the main reasons I was selected as a hemophilia champion is because I've been very physically fit for the majority of my life. I used to be a competitive swimmer. Now, into my adult life, I started lifting weights a few years back. I haven't been doing it as much lately. But I've had a lot of success with it, and as a direct result, my quality of life and my bleeding episodes are virtually nil, which is unique.
So would you kind of suggest to other people who suffer from hemophilia, like, not to be scared of the disease so much, to try to maybe take an empowering approach to it?
Absolutely, yeah. It's like anything else. If you can stay a step in front of it rather than reacting to it and a step behind it, then you'll just be much better off in the long run.
Have you had any real scares with the disease throughout your life?
A few. Without, complicated is not the right word, but if you don't have the background, it's hard to understand. But you can develop what's called an inhibitor, which makes the medication not useful to your body. I've had 2 of those in my life, and that's probably one of the biggest things, because then that medication is a very big part of your treatment, and if your body isn't using it, that's a big problem.
Today is World Hemophilia Day. If you could suggest something, a takeaway for people looking in on this disease, what would you hope they get out of a day like this?
For just the general population, it's just an awareness thing, right? Like, I understand that we can't know everything about everyone, but just to kind of know. And there are a lot of undiagnosed bleeding disorders, so it's just one thing that, especially in the female population, it's one thing to maybe, if you think you have any symptoms or if something seems abnormal to you, then just go talk to your physician and maybe just that awareness thing.
All right, you're on Twitter. Why don't you give your Twitter handle for us?
Frogs eat flies.
Frogs eat flies. Easy to remember, huh?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, absolutely. Right. Thanks a lot.
Check it out. See what John's doing on Twitter. Thanks a lot for coming in. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Up to the rooftop now. Terry has the weather.
Yeah, and it's looking great, guys. The sun is up, no clouds to be seen. The winds are light, too. So overall, aside from those cool below seasonal temperatures, it's not a bad start to your day. -11 at the moment. The winds from the north-northeast are 8 kilometers an hour. Pressure is rising. Humidity at 79%. Now today, the mercury should be climbing up above the freezing mark for nearly everybody in the province, and we'll all be basking in the sunshine, too. Northwestern Ontario as well. Temperatures, yes, just above the freezing mark, but barely. We're talking very low single digits. 3 degrees expected as the high here in the city, and 11 degrees would be seasonal. Now, we will eventually see those seasonal temperatures, but not until we wrap up the weekend and look forward into next week. And before that happens, we'll see the sunshine disappear Saturday.